Hi, and welcome to Kitchen Table Sessions. I'm Cole. This is Kitchen Table Sessions, the devotional podcast. You can find this podcast on Spotify if you're listening. If you're watching and just want to listen, if you're watching this, watching this on YouTube or on Facebook. So today we're going to be talking about basically. I'm not really sure what I've titled this at this point. But we're basically talking about the devil's whispers in our lives and what it causes us, how it causes us to live our lives. The biggest issue I feel like we as Christians have as far as in the church and serving is what the devil tells us as we're trying to do so. So I've come across so many people, and I've been that person and still am, as the devil tries to deter us from what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to be, is that he whispers little things saying that we're not adequate, we're not good enough to perform these tasks or just to serve in any capacity. And we're going to go to our main scripture, which is 1 Peter 5:8-9, before I get ahead of myself. You've heard this scripture many times. It says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings." So, me personally, as I've gone up to do either go help with certain things or maybe speak somewhere, right before it's every time there's this in the back of my head, I'm thinking to myself, you can't do this. You're not adequate enough. You can't do this. You did this, a month ago, like you messed up, said this, lied about this, just any little thing the devil brings up in our minds for us not to be able to do the task that the Lord's called us to do. And so I think, we read the first half of that verse where it talks about, that your enemy, the devil, he prowls around like a roaring lion. We read that part of the verse, or that verse, and we don't read verse 9. And I think verse 9 is really what I want to talk about. We all know that the whispers we hear, us doubting ourselves, is actually from the devil and of the devil. But what we don't understand is that everyone around us is going through the same thing. There's no perfect person or being in this world that can just, that isn't getting these same things thrown throughout their mind and their thoughts. And so the devil can't stop us as far as, we're saved or going to heaven. He can't play in that ball game anymore. That's over. You're a Christian, you're saved. But what he can do is delay or maybe, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but diminish your ministry as far as what God's called you to do, as far as serving in any capacity, whatever capacity that may be. So that's what he tries to do. Maybe he does that with busyness. Maybe he does that with just inadequacy. Nice word. All right, inadequacy, like making us feel that we can't do these certain things. And so that second half of that verse 9, resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know the family of believers throughout the world is undergoing the same kind of sufferings. So we have a bad, a bad, what's the word I'm looking for? A bad habit of thinking we're the only people who struggle with something, or we're the only people who think these things. Like, we're the only people who think that we can't do this, or like, what if somebody asked me this question, I can't answer this. Like, that's honestly the reason why we don't witness, or I know I don't, is because, like, what if somebody asked me this question instead of just standing firm in our faith and believing that God's going to give us the words to say. And so we have this bad habit of thinking other people don't struggle with the exact same thing, where it says in this verse is that all of the family believers, we're all going through the same thing. Maybe different aspects, different sides of ministry, but we're all going through the same doubts and fears. And so really, one aspect I want to talk about is just encouragement. And there's some people in this world that, that's their gift. But encouraging the people beside you, like there's people that will go up on stage and sing maybe. And even if it's a routine thing, I think in their mind, every time I get off the stage, I say, hey, good job. Because the devil can put the little bit of ounce of doubt in your mind, and it may make you not get up the next time to do it. And that next time may bless someone's heart. And so the little things in life, as far as stuff that you think is routine for that person, getting up to speak or getting up to or coming up and, I don't know, setting out the chairs and tables or whatever that may be. Something you think is routine for that person may be like big outside their comfort zone. I know every time I went to maybe speak or something, like people would say, "You did a great job," you sounded great. I'd be like, I was terrified the entire time. And if I didn't get that encouragement, my mind, the devil would have been just like, no one enjoyed that. No one got anything out of that. So why are you doing it? And he still would do that. But so as a family of believers, we have to encourage each other. And this podcast wasn't even supposed to be about encouraging other believers, but that second half of that verse, as I was reading it just now, it just spoke out to me that you've got to encourage other believers. We're all going through the same things. They may have the same struggles. Maybe yours is a little different than mine, or mine's a little different than yours, or maybe we do have the same struggle. We have to encourage each other, and we can't let the devil diminish what he can do through our lives. Our life is it's a small little inkling, and I'm noticing that as older as I get, that it goes away so quick. A year is gone, 2 years is gone, 3 years is gone. And so we have this short time to reach people. We have this short time to let God use us. And why should we let the devil diminish that in any way? I don't want to be diminished in any way. I want God to use me fully. I want to be like Swiss Army knife. I want him to use me every little thing he can do. If it's setting up, turning on lights when it needs to be done, or speaking, anything. And so basically today is be sober-minded. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion. We know that. We've heard that. But know that you're not the only person the devil is coming after. You know that you're not the only person that's hearing these things of inadequacy, and be there for other people. And not only that, get in the Word, pray, and resist the devil. Be firm in your faith, because this life's too short for us to let the devil diminish what the Lord's trying to do. And the devil's not going to diminish what the Lord's going to do ultimately. But why would you want God not to use you fully? Why would you want to let what the insecurities you may have, or the insecurities that he may put in your mind or in your heart, diminish what God's going to do in your life? And so that's really just the challenge. This is a short little challenge maybe, is just stay firm in the Word and encourage each other, because we're not here long, and we're here to share Christ and share his love. And don't ever let the devil diminish that love through you, but be a light in that way. And so that's just this little section I wanted to share. But encourage others, stand firm in your faith, and resist the devil, and just serve the Lord, and don't let him put those thoughts in your mind or in your heart. So this has been Kitchen Table Sessions, a devotional podcast. We will be having real talk episodes with guests. It's been just tough lining up people or finding schedules that meet. Excuse me. And so those will be coming pretty soon. We have a really a bunch of good guests lined up. So, but just take that to work with you today. Maybe we're gonna take that to back home with you. Maybe you're riding home from work. It's just, God is not going to choose you or use you if you're not adequate. Even if we are inadequate, God makes, God fills the void. We're not doing anything anyway. We're just being vessels. So God's going to fill you, tell you what to say, show you what to do. And so in that, live in freedom, okay? Just stand firm in your faith and serve the Lord wholeheartedly, and he will use you. And so this has been Kitchen Table Sessions, devotional podcast. You can listen to this on Spotify. You can't listen to this on the Apple Podcast yet. We have a problem with our artwork. But Spotify under Kitchen Table Sessions. This episode will be labeled The Devil's Whispers. And you can also watch this on YouTube. It just Kitchen Table Sessions or Cold Carr, my YouTube page. And so we hope I hope this has been beneficial to someone, even if it's just me saying these words to myself. That's, in that is fine. But I hope this is beneficial to you, and maybe you can take this and learn from it. And so encourage each other, stand firm, resist the devil, and go serve the Lord.